What is going on, everybody? Man, it's your boy Architect Nash in the building. We back again with another video. Now, so I Am Athlete Podcast came out with another episode today, and it kind of read: if you're good enough, don't go to Alabama, go to an HBCU. And I sort of clicked on it faster than ever, right? So before I even get to what was said, I do want to say this, and I'm pretty sure that all the HBCU activists, people who speak for it, can understand this. And Maya Angelou said this best: if you don't know where you come from, you're not going to know where you're going. And I believe if a lot of people knew more about the history of most of our HBCUs, I think a lot of people would have more of an appreciation for it. Like, for instance, there's about 15, 16, probably 17 HBCUs that's been closed down since the beginning. A lot of them due to financial problems, lack of funding, and even buildings being burnt down. So while some of the HBCUs that nobody probably heard of, while they were dealing with financial problems and having to close the school down, the other schools, like Howard and most of the other schools in Tennessee and Georgia, they were dealing with the same issues, but then found a way to keep the school running. And a lot of our HBCUs, they were built by black men who were once slaves. And a lot of our HBCUs, they didn't start off as colleges. They started off as elementary schools and high schools, and they wasn't even offering bachelor's degrees back then. Like, they probably didn't even start offering bachelor degrees until probably in the 1920s, 1930s. The majority of them, I don't want to give out, that much information, but I think people have to understand, especially a lot of the schools in the Deep South, they had to deal with a lot with segregation. They had to deal with the riots. Some of those schools or some of their buildings, they were getting burnt down. And guess what? Instead of them shutting down like the rest of them, they took, they had students rebuilding the buildings. And if a lot of people knew the struggles that a lot of these HBCUs had to go through just to stay open, I think a lot of us would have a better appreciation for just HBCUs, period. But getting to what I Am Athlete Podcast was speaking about, I think money is one of probably the biggest factors. Before we even speak about sports, I think money. I think, why Alabama, and Florida and University of Georgia, why these schools are all successful is their alumni. Their alumni donate a lot of money. They come back and, and they help out where it's needed. I think a lot of the resources comes from alumni just giving back. They're giving away, they're donating 50,000, 100,000, 150,000, 150,000. And I believe, versus a lot of HBCUs, there's a lack of alumni who would give $100, $200, per se. But that's nowhere near what what other schools give out. They are giving out boatloads of money, and by that you're gonna see a lot of different things on campus. You're gonna see a lot more buildings. You're gonna see a whole lot of that. And I do want to say this. My ex at the time, she went to Vanderbilt, and she was telling me how they were giving money because she qualified Beta. So she was giving money for their chapter, they was given money to use. I don't know if it was for a semester or if it was for the entire school year, but the school themselves were giving each chapter money for them to be able to throw events and then for be able to provide whatever this chapter needed. Now, that same thing is not applied at HBCUs. Like, we actually have to do car washes and fish fries and cookouts in order to receive donations from just people. So I think one of the big reasons why PWIs thrive so much is the amount of money that alumni do give back. And I think it works with marketing. If you have a big marketing team, if you're able to market your school the way that Alabama does, because check this out, the state of Alabama don't even have a professional team, but the University of Alabama attracts so much national attention that it really don't matter, because the University of Alabama is their quote-unquote professional team. And I think that's the market that it leaves, that Coach Nick Saban is the head marketer for University of Alabama. So, and really, because we don't even hear about their basketball team at all. So I believe, that's that. And another thing, I think that HBCUs are just afraid to go after the 5-star and 4-star recruit because they don't think that they're good enough to have those type of players. And that's the same thing that Deion Sanders said. There are a bunch of HBCUs who are just afraid to just go after that 5-star athlete, because, and especially for in the times that we in, it's a lot of people are going to HBCUs. But I think one of the guys asked a really good question, and he asked, are you going to an HBCU to change the culture or to actually get a degree? Because he said the example was the one and done kids at Duke and these other basketball schools. And if we do get that 4-star and 5-star recruit, how do we know that the same thing ain't gonna happen once they go to an HBCU? And I believe, me personally, I'm fine with a one and done in HBCU, because at the end of the day, it's all about marketing. Like, I know, like, when a lot of football and basketball players go to school, a lot of their mindset don't really be on getting a degree. It's normally trying to make it to the next level. And you really don't need a degree for it. But in the process, you can actually market the school that you go to, and you can attract however many fans you can attract just for you being you. Now with Coach Prime, he attracted the most eyes anybody has probably ever witnessed, when it comes to paying attention to HBCU sports. And I do want to say this. I think that a lot of HBCU, can learn from what Deion Sanders is doing. He's a great marketer. Regardless of his NFL career, he is a great marketer. He can definitely market himself while also marketing Jackson State. If we see what Jackson State is going, if we see what's going on in Jackson State now, if you see all those 3-star and 4-star recruits, depending on how this season goes, you can attract more. And then more HBCUs can attract those same type of players. So, I mean, really, realistically, realistically, it all comes down to the money. It all comes down to alumni giving back, making sure that the schools can build more resources for the school. Because let's be honest, the weight rooms at these other big time schools are probably 5 to 10 times better than these other HBCUs. And what a lot of people should understand is that the football team and the band attract more eyes to the school than anything. So if the football team is good and the band is good, guaranteed you're gonna have more eyes on your school than any other school possible. But look, I definitely loved what they had to say. I definitely appreciate them having those type of talk, even though none of them went to HBCUs. But I definitely appreciate them for having that talk, because it's definitely gonna bring more eyes, than what we can imagine. So I definitely appreciate them for that. But yeah, man, that's my take on it, man. And I know a lot of y'all enjoyed that interview, man. But hey, and make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share, comment, like. Appreciate y'all, man.